Hi, everybody, and welcome to Devotions on this Monday. I like to think about faith. You know, we put faith in lots of things. When Priscilla was 40 years old, I decided to buy her a windsurfer. So we went down near Musenberg to a place called Sunflow, some of you may know, and she hopped on this windsurfer and it just took off. And she went out hundreds and hundreds of meters. And I was getting really worried. Eventually she stopped, she dropped the sail, and she had to paddle all the way back. And I thought, this is not going well. So the next time we went out, we decided that a good thing to do would be to have a 100-meter rope. So we tied this 100-meter rope to a pole on the shore. And then Priscilla hopped on the windsurfer, took off. And when she reached 100 meters, it came to a stop. And that's how she learned some of the techniques of windsurfing without getting blown out to sea, as it were. We put our faith in that 100-meter rope, and it worked. When it comes to Christianity, faith is at the heart of it. But what is this faith? How do we express it? Well, there's some stories about this in the Bible, but one of them particularly I'd like to remind us about. You know, Jesus has had a very, very busy 24 hours. He'd gone out across the lake, and there he had met this crazy demon-possessed naked guy walking around in the graveyard, and he delivered him from his demons, and he got him right. Then he turned around, they came back, and they hit this awful storm. And when they got to the shore, there was somebody, the whole crowd waiting for them. And Jairus, who was the head of the synagogue in that town, said, "My daughter's dying, please come and heal her." So Jesus got moving up the hill with all the crowd thronging around him. And as he was moving up, he stopped. And he said to his disciples, "Someone's touched me." And they said, "What do you mean someone's touched you? Hundreds of people are pressing up against you." He says, "No, I felt power go out of me." And he said, "Who touched me?" And he waited. And eventually a woman came forward. And she said to him, "I touched you." Now, this woman had had a problem for 12 years. She'd had internal bleeding, which just didn't stop. And she was really ill. She'd gone to every doctor she could think of and found no help. But she said to herself, if I can just touch the hem of Jesus' cloak, I will be healed. And Jesus said to her, "My daughter, your faith has healed you." Now go in peace. What was it about this woman's faith that was so special? I think the first thing was that she knew her need. She knew her need. She was desperate. She'd been everywhere. And sometimes it's difficult for us to admit that, that we are really in need of the help that God can give to us. But she'd reached the point where she was desperate. That was the first thing about her. Then also, she was sure that Jesus could do something. She was confident. She'd heard about him. Maybe she'd even seen him at work. And she said, if only I can touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. She was totally sure of that Jesus would do what needed to be done for her. And then she expressed her faith. And the way that she expressed her faith was by reaching out and touching the garment of Jesus. Those qualities of faith, knowing our need, believing in all our hearts that Jesus will respond to our need, and then to express our faith in some way through a prayer. Thank you, Lord, I put my whole trust in you. This woman reached out and touched Jesus. We need to, in some way, express our faith. And what about Jesus? Well, there was an immediate response. He said he felt power going out of him. And when we reach out and touch Jesus in faith, there is an immediate response from Jesus. It might not always be what we would like it to be. It might not always happen when we want it to happen. But something will begin because Jesus responds to our faith in him. Also, he didn't just want to heal her. He wanted to see her. He wanted to talk to her. He wanted that personal connection. And so it is with us as well. He doesn't just want to do things for us. He wants us. He wants us to be his friends and to be his close followers. And so as we look at the story, we see here some of the dimensions of faith and how we can apply it to our own lives. And is there anything in your life which you're needing just to hand over to God, because you know there's nothing you can do about this now? You just got to give it to him and say, Lord, I'm reaching out to you. And as you do, power will go out of him and the process will begin. May God bless you, and may you experience more and more of his work in your life as you put your trust in him. Bye for now.